Discover how to go from homeless to multimillionaire in today's episode with Karen Coffey. She is the founder and CEO of Karen Coffey Coaching, a multi-million-dollar coaching and training organization working with businessmen and women who are looking to fast track to 7 figures and beyond per year. And her company has won the Inc. 500 award 2 years running as one of the fastest growing companies in America and is a 2-time Stevie Award winner. Now, the first question is, how did you go from homeless to multimillionaire? Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu, mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services.
It wasn't as easy as it sounds. Actually, it was back in the downturn when the banking crisis happened. And that lasted from 2009, 10, 11 in those years. And it was literally, when you lose everything, you've got nowhere to go but up. So I just landed on my knees, Lily, and it was just listening and having faith that this was not my portion in life, that this somehow was going to turn around. And just one step at a time, my mother passed. She left me $8,000. I bought a clunker car because mine had been repossessed along with my home, and got my real estate license. And I thought, well, I've got to do something. So here we go. And I got my real estate license and I moved to a brand new market where I didn't know a soul. And I just, every day, I would just go into prayer and meditation. I don't, whatever people resonate with. And I asked, what is one thing, just one thing I can do today? And I would just be extreme in following what I felt like the guidance I was getting. It wasn't this big booming audible voice or anything like that, but it was a gut instinct. It just felt like I was being guided every step of the way. And so I began my real estate career. That did not take me to multi-millions. It was not until people started asking me, what is the key to your success? What are you doing? Can you coach me? Can you help me? And it was my pleasure. But at the same time, I was like, people would tell me, you should be a coach. And I'm like, I know nothing about that. I don't know. I just do what I do. I'm driven not to be poor anymore. I don't like starving and not having food. So that's why I get up every day and do what I do. And so I began a coaching company a couple of years later, and it exploded because I was still asking that question. What's just one thing I can do today? So anyway, that is a long story put into a short answer. That's how you go from homeless to being multimillionaire.
Thank you. What can entrepreneurs do in order to go from zero to multi-millions?
Sure. Well, like I said, mine was a partnership with this God of my understanding. And so that was key. I had struggled and struggled and struggled, and I was hitting walls, and I am just tired of it. And when you finally get to a point where you're done, you're going to end up on your knees in tears and asking, I need help. So that was one. But I was brought in that process to a mentor, and having good mentors, having good we call it mothers and fathers, those people that aren't family that just really care about your success. That is super important. And that's what got me to where I am.
Thank you. What is the very first step entrepreneurs can do once they have gotten to that point of saying, enough is enough, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Now I'm ready for action.
Right. So when you're ready for action, I'm going to say surrender. Surrender your ideas, your preconceived notions about how you think it should be. We live in a world, Lillian, that everybody is telling you what to do, how to do it, how to hold your mouth, where to stand. And I'm telling you, I did all of it, and it just did not work for me. And so I'm going to say, surrender your ideas, be coachable, actually spend what it takes to invest in someone. And now we do have coaching programs. They can join or not. I'm not attached to that, but find somebody that has had success, who has earned the right in what you're doing, and do what they say. Now, the first thing I would say for any entrepreneur, and this is like that tooth pulling thing that nobody wants to do, is get your people, find your people. And what I mean by that is this holds like 500, 1,000, 2,000 people, your email, find those people, get them into a database so that you can communicate and not be silent anymore. In other words, that you can tell your story to a group that you are already connected with. And I'm pointing to my phone. So if you see me pointing into the air, that's where I'm pointing. But that you can tell your story. People want and need what you have. You are the answer to their prayer. I don't care if you have a dry cleaning business. I don't care if you clean carpets. I don't care if you detail cars or if you're a coach, an author, whatever it is that you might be. You are the answer to people's prayer. But you've got to know that inside first, or you're not going to communicate in a way that people are just like, oh my gosh, she's exactly what I need. So that's a lot of first steps, isn't it?
Thank you. How do you become magnetic to your ideal client in the sense of not only attracting them to be around them, okay, but also to be magnetic in the sense of them throwing money at you and being like, you know what, I went to work with you in particular.
Yeah.
Take my money right now.
That's right. Take my money. You know, the only thing that I can say is just being very authentic, being who you are. Don't try and copy anybody else. Don't try and copy what they're saying, but you have to find that pain point and be the solution. Now, this is marketing 101, right? But so many people don't take the time. I'm sure when you're teaching people how to write books or whatever, there's got to be a plot. There's got to be, I know there are business and different things, it's not fiction, but there's got to be an answer to a problem. So you've got to be super clear on who you serve. You've got to know what their pain is. For me, it was women who were struggling, who were in marriages that they couldn't get out of because they couldn't financially afford to leave a bad situation. For me, it was, I don't know how to feed my child this week. And I am just praying and holding on that somebody is going to come save me. And that was my people. And so I spoke to that, my people, my person. And when you can speak in such a way that you're like, I'm not going to let you fail. And that was my commitment. I am not going to let you fail. If it takes me 2 years to work with you for the same, I don't care. I'm not going to leave you stranded. I'm going to help you out. So speaking with confidence, clarity, certainty, knowing the solution that you have for your audience and being confident in it, that is how you attract people to you. And they go just like, yeah, just I'll find the money, just save me. Yeah.
Thank you. How can entrepreneurs find the right solution for them? What I mean by that is that how can you find the right thing that will be at the right pricing that will attract the right clients to you? So the reason I say this is because there are multimillionaires that are making their multi-millions selling, I don't know, $10 a month coaching to a gazillion members. Or
Right.
there's other people that have high ticket products that, only need like 20 clients or however many, so they need like a smaller list of clients to actually work with to impact their lives so much that they are making that, multi-millions as well. So how do you make sure that entrepreneurs choose the right path for them?
If given the opportunity, sometimes an entrepreneur will choose what they feel comfortable with. And that is not the right thing to do. Many entrepreneurs don't feel worthy of the high ticket. They don't feel like confident enough in their program. And so in that case, their I guess, propensity is to go to something low ticket. And I'm not saying that everybody who sells a low ticket, no, they're very confident. They know what they're doing. But for me, high ticket was the way. And it was very much out of my comfort zone. So we have a coach certification program that we certify people to be coaches. And that's one of the things I'm so glad you asked, because it's a hump we have to get over. It's their confidence level. It's like, what is the price tag that you can put on the outcome that you give? And so for us, it was women in residential real estate or women in business. We would look at what we could make them, and it was across the board about $8,000 to $10,000. And so that's what we charge for our high ticket. Now we do both. We have low ticket memberships because I'm comfortable with it all, but our client may not be. And so they can come into a membership site and get comfortable, and you can gain trust and things like that. But as far as your question, it's not always what you feel comfortable with as an entrepreneur. You need to stretch and have someone that sees something in you that you don't see in yourself. That was what happened with me. I was like, I can't charge that. There's no way. And it's like, just read the conversation. I don't like to call them scripts. Read the conversation. You've got to know that what you offer is very much worth every penny. And then all of a sudden, just people start like, yes, 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 yes. So that's how.
Thank you. What shift needs to happen in your body, mind, and soul in order to become energetically magnetic to your desired target market?
You said what shift needs to happen in your body, mind, and soul, right? Yes. So I'm going to be very frank. This may not be a popular answer, but nothing changed for me until I aligned with who God said I was. And that means I am loved, I am forgiven, I am favored, I am just all of these wonderful things. And if I need to believe that. And so it was a process that I had to go through that says, I am not my past. I am not a failure as a mother. I am not a failure as a wife. I am actually amazing. And I need to believe that first and foremost. And that, I believe, is the shift. And for me, it was through my journey in faith. So I started really diving into who I am and in who God says I am. And that changed everything. It was almost like the floodgates opened when I did that. Another thing I started doing was I know this word is bad, but tithing. And so early on in my journey, I thought tithing was the church's manipulation to get my money, and I didn't like it. So what I realized is everything belongs to God anyway, and he's only asking me for a 10% referral fee. Like, would I give 10% referral fee to anybody that sent me business? Yes. Hands down, no problem. Here you go. And when I did that shift and realized I don't care what the church does with my money, it's not about me and the church. It is about me and God. And I just give the money and then I go, thank you, because it's all his anyway. So anyway, those are my top tips.
Wow, I love that. So I find that quite interesting that when you're making the shift internally in terms of really accepting your path, you can say accepting that you have this big protector in a way in your life that is always there for you. And in your case, it's God, and in other people's faiths, it could be another. Sure. But what I find quite interesting is that the minute you opened yourself up to spirituality, that's the thing that kind of helped you to take this forward, right?
Yes, absolutely. Now, I had been spiritual for years, very deep into spirituality. It wasn't until I really got clear on my partnership so we have a nonprofit that is called Spirit-Led Business, and it is about partnering. Not being the co-pilot. Like, God is not your co-pilot. He is the pilot. You're just along for the ride. And so it was when I got into that faith journey and started really that intimacy with God, that intimacy in my life. That's what changed everything.
Thank you. Yeah. What do you suggest for entrepreneurs wanting to close high-ticket programs and services?
What do I suggest? You can't do it alone. It is a process. You need someone to help you. I don't care if it's me or someone else, but you need someone else to help you know the ins and outs, the intricacies of high ticket sales, from how you build your funnel to how you, I started to say negotiate. I don't know where that came from, but how you convert your leads to that sale, and then how to fulfill that at a high level. Because if you're asking a high ticket, you better have and go the extra mile in what you're offering. So find somebody that's going to help you do that. High ticket, again, you don't have to have a lot of certifications. I didn't start with any awards. I didn't start with any, it's Just know who you are, know what outcome you provide, and find somebody to help you to go through it. Yeah.
Thank you. Were there any habits that you practiced that enabled you to go from having nothing to multimillionaire?
Yeah, absolutely. So remember I said I was on my knees. Well, I continue to be on my knees. No, it's not about getting on your knees, but it is having that designated time every single day for prayer and meditation. And that changed everything. I know this is not a guru popular thing to say, but guys, this is what grounds you. This is what reminds you of who you are and where you're headed and what you're called to do. Because you're not called to just, well, we can just be called to make a ton of money and go, great, I'm going to be sitting at the beach. That's not what it's about. It's about changing people's lives and the impact that you make along the way. So that practice of, sometimes it was 15 minutes, sometimes it was an hour of just, I'd play some very soft music. I would just say a prayer and I would listen. This wasn't about me speaking. God didn't need to hear my words. And it was about listening. And again, asking, what's one thing, just one. At the end of a year, I had 365 steps that were spirit led that I wouldn't have had otherwise if I hadn't have stopped and just said, I'm listening. Just tell me what to do. And if it meant picking up the phone and calling some, weird thing, like call this person you hadn't talked to in 3 years. And it's like, well, that has nothing to do with my business. Just do it. Extreme follow through. You hear fortunes in the follow up. Well, this is a different type of fortune in the follow up. It's like follow up on what your gut is telling you, what your inspiration in spirit. The root of inspiration is in spirit. So anyway, I just want people to really connect with that part of them that is guiding you every single day, and we ignore it, or we're too busy, or we're running around with the kids and the spouse and the family. That's the habit that changed everything. And that's the habit that I see change everything in my clients.
Thank you. No, the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. And right. I find that, when you've had a traumatic past, to attract more of that in terms of clients, husband, business partners, you attract a lot of that because it's familiar to you. You somehow become magnetic to negative stuff that it mirrors the kind of abuse you had in the past. So I wonder, how do you transform yourself as a person in order to become less attractive to those people and situations and opportunities that are kind of bringing you down?
Yeah.
And you become attractive to positive opportunities that will elevate your life and to the right clients that will appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked this because this is very, very important. You believe certain things about yourself. And if you've had failure in marriage, failure in family, failure as a young child, you were, exposed to abuse, all of these things create what you believe about yourself. And we think it's true. And I'm here to tell you it's not. It's not who you are. It's experience that you've had. You hold these things tight to yourself as this is my past, like my homelessness. I could still be relating with, I am a homeless single mom, which means I'm a failure at everything. And you have to really start believing the truth of who you are. Here's just a little tip. When you go into that time of maybe you're like, I am at my wit's end. I'm tired of this. What are the lies that just ask your gut, your intuition, God, whatever it is you resonate with, what lies am I believing about myself right now? And I'll tell you, things will come out that you never thought that you ever believed. And then ask the next question, what's the truth? What is the truth of who I am? Because if you are believing certain things, you're a magnet for all the other people that believe that junk. And when you start believing, oh my God, I am amazing. I am great at what I do. I did the best that I could with my family, my husband, my relationships, whatever it is, my business prior, anything. And now is a new day. And I am connected and partnering with a power that is much greater than myself because I can't get all of this done. I have a grace on my life to do all the things, all the businesses that I've done. And you will too, once you start believing that there is a power that will give you grace. It is not you. It is not striving. It is not running on that hamster wheel that gets success. I mean, yes, it does for some, but that's not the world I want to live in. Once you're in this place of knowing who you are, that you're good at what you do, you're going to attract those people that just need you, that see your value and not all the chaos in relationships. And you'll have a greater boundary of who you let into your life. So,
how do you reprogram your mind in order to be able to believe that?
well, for me, it was surrounding myself with other people that believed that about themselves. Because who was it? Jim Rohn, who said, you are the 5 people that you hang around. You're the average of that. And I looked around and I'm like, ooh, wow, I need to change this. So I began finding those people, those communities, those groups, and I started hanging out with them. Now, for me, I told you I'm a strong faith-based woman. That meant that it wasn't hanging out with my local church. I'm just going to tell you. It was finding those faith-based entrepreneurs that were millionaires already and hanging out with them and saying, what did you do? And they would catch my speech. They would catch what I would say and go, but wait, what was that you just said? You need to change that right now because that's not who you are. And so it was finding community for me.
Thank you. How do you become stronger as a person as well? The reason I say this is because I'm quite intuitive. And I often notice how I meet certain people and they're very nice and they're very sweet and they're almost like a pushover. And those people that you know that if you're half an hour late or an hour late, they'll be like, oh, it's okay. Right. So it's like they're telling you in a way, you know what, treat me badly and it's okay because I'll be there anyway. And I find there are other people that you just can feel their energy where they're like, they're strong. They know they're confident. They're powerful. They're influential. They're not pushovers. And it's almost like you are encouraged to treat them differently. But of course, as a nice person, as a kind, spiritually, as a friendly person, you're not going to treat the pushover badly. You're still going to be sweet and kind and whatever, but most people wouldn't. And that's why you find that those people tend to attract a lot of, scammers, rude people that are mistreating those people. So I wonder how people can change their energy in a way that they get treated fairly, kindly. They attract nice, kind, appreciative people.
Sure. And I think that there is power in declaration. Declarations, some people call it affirmations, but declarations take it just a little bit further. But you can start by just, someone can actually, I can't do it for them, but they can do it for themselves. I have discernment. I am wise. I have wisdom. I understand what my focus should be today. I only meet those people who can help lift me up, benefit me, fill my world with confidence. And so those declarations of really starting to believe this is who I am, if they know they have a problem with that. The problem is those people typically don't know they have a problem with that. They just live in life. They are just happy and they are attracting the junk along the way. But if they know it, they can begin with those affirmations and those declarations to really, and have boundaries, knowing, boundaries won't keep them from accepting spammers or scammers, but they can start knowing I have boundaries in my life. People do not take advantage of me, but you want to turn that around by not stating the negative and stating the positive of I only attract people who benefit me. So I would say declarations for sure will change that energy.
Thank you. When you work with entrepreneurs, do you mainly focus on coaching entrepreneurs that will charge high ticket programs? And if yes, what process do these entrepreneurs tend to go through in order to reach their goal?
Sure. So we work with all kinds. So it's not always high ticket. High ticket, they work with me. I work with them one-on-one. We have a ton of people who are not high ticket. They just want to move. Now, if you're a coach certification client, yes, I'm going to teach you how to do multiple levels. And so the first thing that we talk about is how to coach. I certify people in actually how to coach. In other words, this is not just about giving advice. That's not what coaching is, even though that is a strong part of it. But I teach them how to connect with their intuition, their gut, their spirit, and coach from that, because we don't have the answers to all the world's problems. But there is a power and a God and a universe that does. And so if we're partnering with that, then we're going to go next level on how we coach other people and the success that they will have. So that is the very first thing. Now, the second thing, process, to answer your question, that they go through is how to market authentically without all of the salesy language and, buy it now and we're running out of time and all of this stuff. I don't want our coaches being left out on the field and going, great, I'm certified. What do I do now? And they're floundering. So we stick with them until they have their first 10 clients. It doesn't matter if it takes a year, but anyway, it doesn't matter how long it is. Now, we just don't let them fail. The process for them is mindset. We have mindset. Each person has a mindset coach. They have training with me. They have Q&A and co-working times. I mean, it is amazing. And then, of course, the practice part of it. So they go through a process of exactly how do I coach at a higher level, and then how am I going to be prosperous doing it? So that's the process they go through.
Thank you. In terms of the sales training, the thing I was curious about, because I'm very much against pushy kind of sales. And the other thing is that there's an issue with sales where if there's like a wide availability for something for a really long time, people tend not to take action. So
sure.
As you just mentioned, that you encourage your entrepreneurs not to focus so much on the, buy now and, the software is going to go away, or there's a time restricted limit on it. Mm-hmm. And the reality is when you don't do that, people tend to not buy at all. So I do wonder what is the strategy that your entrepreneurs would use instead to...
So I said, we don't like to say, buy it now, buy it now. It doesn't mean we don't have time restrictions. We do. But there's a difference between me having a video that's like, pow, buy it now. This expires tonight at midnight. It doesn't mean we don't say those things. We just don't say it in that way. So we do have time limiters because it's not fair to those who just jumped in right away and bought your program, joined your group, joined your community, whatever it is. And bonuses, we always give bonuses, and always greater than, probably the value of the bonus is always greater than the program itself. So those are the things that just a couple of the things that we teach, but every word that you say is important when you're speaking to your audience. Yeah.
Thank you. What difference do you find there is between what entrepreneurs normally do and what you coach entrepreneurs to do as a spirit-led?
Most coaches they're coaching from experience and they're coaching from advice. And those are great. We do that too. But again, this is not every client that a coach has is very different. It is not cookie cutter. I mean, I go to someone, I'm very different from somebody else that they're coaching. So how am I going to find what is exactly right for them? I'm going to I will say a prayer before the call, not necessarily on it, but before the call, and say, Lord, help me connect with them at the highest level so that I can give them wisdom, clarity, and understanding around what it is they need to do in business. You will not believe what that one prayer will do. And it's something I do in private. It's not something that I do in front of them unless they're like, hey, can we say a prayer? Which is rare. But it is so different. It is so different than anything that I've been through many coaching programs to see, what do you have? What's going on? And nobody's teaching that. They're like, well, you have your own IP and you have your own way of doing things. And that's what you need to teach. And yes, there's trauma that you've been through. There's things you've been through that you're coaching now. Successes you've had. You've been a victor in many and not a victim. So how do we get people from here, 0, to multimillionaire or whatever? These steps, but those steps are not always cookie cutter for every client. So that's why we bring in Spirit and ask Spirit for what do they need to focus on this week, next week, just like what I did to build mine. Really, that's what we're teaching people to do. And it's not easy to keep doing that because we are human and we want to go back into our reserves. Yes, we have things that, and Spirit will say, Holy Spirit will say, hey, you need to talk about that. And you go, okay, got it. But it doesn't mean I lead with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, love it. That was a fascinating interview. Stay tuned.
Oh, you're welcome very much. I love you, how fast you are. Yes, this is perfect. Thank you.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.